Yo, 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 welcome to episode 3 of the Two Guys, One Spread podcast. I am Joe, and this is Tom. We have a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to cover today. Obviously, the big top first one is Super Bowl. Tom, what were your thoughts of the Super Bowl?
I think everybody in Buffalo, they, they got what they wanted. I think they wanted a Philly win, and it was even better than we could have imagined. I think people love seeing Mahomes struggle. It was just pure domination on both sides of the ball on the offensive line, defensive line, just dominated this game. We kind of talked about it in episode 1 about we both like the Eagles in this game because of the defensive line and the offensive line, how they could punish them. But I don't think anybody saw this coming.
No, I was actually thinking of a bunch of my Bills fans buddies that were just like, I mean, it doesn't take the sting away of the loss, but it had to just be so good to just watch it and just to see the stress that Mahomes was under and how average he really looked. I mean, we said you know all season long, people were like they're not as good as their record is, but yet they keep winning, so it's hard to make that argument. And I think like they were just exposed, and I mean it was a beating, man. It
Right.
really
I mean, they
was.
got nothing going on offense at all. The running game, I was looking at the stats. I mean, you're talking Hunt under 10 yards, Checo under 10 yards.
Yeah, it was
Mahomes
insane.
had maybe 20, and scrambling. They got nothing going. The game wasn't as close as the score.
Not
Uh,
even not
they
even
scored
close.
14 late in the fourth quarter. They might have scored. I didn't check, but maybe did they score all their 21 in the? They score all their points in the fourth.
No, they had. I
Late
think they
third.
got 6. I know I had to pay out some squares. I think they
Okay,
got 6, and then they missed the 2-point conversion. But I
right,
mean, they didn't even. It was almost like I don't know if from the start, like before the game even started, if they knew they couldn't run the ball. But it was like it looked like the Seahawks sometimes where they were like, we're not even going to try it, right?
right,
Like although I mean Carter had 0 tackles, right? But
right.
like the ball never came up the middle. I mean, he had 2 QB hits, and I was like, man, if you just look at stats, you're like, this guy wasn't a factor in the game. But it's like, I wonder if they had came into the game and were like, yeah, we're not going to be able to run anywhere between the tackles because
The the
they
Eagles did
barely
not
tried.
blitz once in this game, not once.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's how you
insane.
beat these great quarterbacks. That's how Brady was beat by the Giants back in the day.
Yeah,
And this is the recipe for beating these teams. You got to do it with your four-man fronts, and that's what they did. It looked like they were blitzing, but
I know. I almost feel. I mean, there was a part of me that was almost like right now in the draft, is it and I know it's been trending this way for sure, but is it like quarterback and then edge rusher, or like someone that could just get in there and cause problems?
right. So this is a big topic in Buffalo is, go get an edge rusher, go get an edge rusher. But I think they did a lot of their damage from their tackles. Their D tackles were just getting that push right up the middle, and everybody knows quarterbacks hate when they get come right up on their face.
Sure.
Obviously, an edge rusher is huge, and that Sweat had a great game, but there was nowhere for Mahomes to step up, and you could just
Yeah.
tell he was uncomfortable from the start.
Yeah. I mean, it was great. They actually showed a couple images of like cuts to his face, and you could tell that he was like, fear is probably the wrong word, but you could tell that he was like, oh man, I don't know what to do. Like this is like he knew this was not good,
Right.
and it was I don't know it was pretty impressive. I mean the defense just really dominated, and I mean the offense looked pretty darn good too.
Right. And on the other side of the ball, Hurts looked good. Hurts looked good because Saquon didn't do much. It wasn't a
Yeah,
game that Saquon dominated. But Hurts, besides that early interception, I thought he played great, kept it under control. They moved the ball. They punted only twice. The game was just pure domination on both sides of the ball.
Plus, I mean, there's times I think, and again, I see some teams they get away from it a little bit. I think they had Hurts did a really good job of being like picking his spots to run, right? Like he
Right.
saw the coverage and he felt a little bit of pressure, and it wasn't indecisive. It was just like I'm gone, and
Right.
that was like 14, 15 yards a pop, and then he would just get down, right? Like I got the first down. I don't need to get crushed. And he like I don't know. He was super impressive. I have him in one of my fantasy dynasty leagues, and his contract's expiring, and I was like, man, I gotta French. I gotta keep this guy. So
Right. Yeah.
so yeah, they were pretty good. Do you
And they
know?
stuck with the run. They stuck with the run, even though it wasn't working. I mean, Saquon had 25 carries, and I know Hurts had a good amount of run. They just kept the ball away from Mahomes. Not that they were doing much on offense, but you saw them get hot in the second half, so you just kept the ball away from them and just kept running the ball, even though you're only getting 3, 4 yards, taking time.
And I think
And
I really think Hurts is a little bit underrated as a passer. Like he had a lot of those throws. I mean, it's not just making the throw; it's like putting it in the right spot,
right,
right? Like I mean, again, when the one Andrews dropped first the Bills, although
right,
that should have been caught, like it wasn't a great pass. It was kind of at his knees. Like if that ball's in his chest, that pass is a little bit easier. Like he had a couple Hurts that I thought he put in a really good spot, right? Like hit the one to he had one to AJ Brown where he just hits him right in stride, right? Like
right.
it's in front and you can just hit it and go.
Yeah, the Devontae Smith touchdown was just gorgeous.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Bomb. That was right on the money. I think he's a little underrated as a passer. Again, I don't know if
They
I
have great
want him.
weapons. It
I
makes
don't
you
know if
look
I
good.
want him slinging the ball 50 times for me, but I think he's a good quarterback, and I mean he really looked good in that game. So
Interesting stat on that Smith touchdown. You know, he was the first Alabama player to ever score a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
wow, that's pretty crazy.
That's pretty crazy. I mean, you consider, I mean, you at least have, it feels like 5 Alabama players drafted every year in the first round.
Yeah.
And for somehow this to be the first,
All right, I'm gonna have to fact check you, but that is pretty.
uh,
That's pretty crazy.
listen, it's on X. I can't be wrong.
Yeah, no, it's got to be right.
It's got to be right.
Real one more thing. Do you know anybody that like that you would expect to, but that didn't watch the game, the Super Bowl, because they were just upset
Yes,
about it? Or
I have one family member who just refused to watch. Yet he knew all the stats going through the game as it was being talked about on a thread. But yes, he said he did not watch.
I had two guys that I knew, and I was like, man, that's crazy. The one guy's like he went skiing with his family. I was like, I could never do that.
No,
I could not
no.
watch a Super Bowl.
I mean, as
And
a
now I
Bills
told him
fan and
I'm
as a Seahawks fan, I'm sure usually we lose, and I need 5 to 6 days to calm down,
yeah.
get over it, and then all right, I'm all right, and let's move on. And I'm back into just watching the games. And
Yeah, I told him I said you should go back and watch it now because like as a Bills fan, like I
no,
mean it
it's
was
great.
border. I mean it was just enjoyable, like to
Now,
watch that type of beatdown.
right now, as a Bills fan, I think we would have lost if we got to the Super Bowl.
It
I
would have
think
been a
we would
better
have made it
game.
a little closer as
I
our offensive line is much better. But boy, I don't know if we would have had a shot to win that game. But
Yeah, I 100% agree. I said the same thing. I was like, someone asked me that, and I said I think it would have been closer, but I don't think they were winning.
I would have liked to been there and lose. But I think it would have been. I think Philly's just a beast all around.
Yeah,
So,
and I mean they got a lot of pieces in place. So real quick, let's look at our predictions. I had it 31-24 for the Eagles.
right,
Um, you had it 27-20.
right. So we
So
both like the Eagles. So we were right there.
yeah, we like the Eagles for sure. I mean, we were right in the ball. we were right. I was 2 points above. You were 2 points below for the Chiefs score.
Right.
Um, I was 31 for the Eagles, 27. So I think we had a pretty good read on it. I'm actually, I mean, it was surprising to me to see an Andy Reid team get that
Right.
dominated, right? Like, I
Right.
mean, I respect him a ton for what he can do, and they just seemed like overwhelmed all over the place. So
Yeah, you had the defensive touchdown, and you had the turnover, deep in the zone. It just,
yeah,
the points kept coming in bunches right there.
yeah,
But or it went a little bit closer, I feel. So I think I like our predictions are pretty good.
yeah. Our
Our
bets,
bets though,
some
woo.
bets.
Now I know a lot of people who bet and bet big on Super Bowl,
Mm.
and it was ugly for almost everybody, from what I'm hearing. And it was ugly for us. It didn't go well.
Yeah. We'll run through them real quick. My three bets. I, man, I really I feel like I should have did better. I had Worthy under 5.5 receptions. I thought that was going to cash. I think the problem was the game script. Like, they got up
Right.
too big, and then all of a sudden it's, prevent city. We'll let you get some catches, and we'll let you get some yards and stuff like that. Some easy ones. We're not playing it so tight. But I do remember saying that, I'm like, there's going to be a bunch of people on KC that hit the under,
Right. You
and
did say that.
I
You
think
didn't.
pretty much probably everybody did except Worthy, except the
Right.
one that I took. But like,
Right.
everybody else, like, I did say I like Noah Gray. He got nothing. He would have been under. Like, everybody would have been under except the one I had. So
Right.
fourth down conversions, neither team converted one. What a disappointment. They only tried to, but I
It's
mean that.
amazing since the Chiefs were down so much. You would have thought they're just going to go for it on fourth down over and over and over again. Second half, still nothing.
I know. I guess I'd have to go back and even look, but I mean, it didn't seem like there was a ton of fourth and ones or twos or threes. Like, I mean,
Right.
the Chiefs, it was literally like I felt like every single time was like third and 8, fourth and something big, and
Right. I
you know
mean,
what I mean?
yeah, it was a lot of Mahomes getting sacked early, and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
even have the opportunity.
Turning the ball over means you're not getting fourth downs, and the other team is marching it in and score. So that was another letdown. My one win was Barkley over 21 and a half rushing attempts. That I felt good about all game. I mean, I think in the third quarter at one point he had already had like 21 or 22. So I'm like,
Right. The game script. I mean, he was going to get it.
yeah, even though he wasn't super effective, that one wound up being a win. So I went 1-2, not
Ooh,
the
1 and 2
end.
is great.
Um, the penalties under 10 and a half.
Nope.
Nope, they were
It,
throwing flags.
flags. They were more. I thought the refs let them play. Obviously, that they had that early offensive pass interference.
Oh,
That this was before the game was obviously out of hand. That everybody was already up in
yep.
arms. But other than that, it was easy calls, offsides, this,
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I'm
That
trying to go back and see. I'm trying to see how many there were total. There
there was
were
15 total. I think it was like
15.
7 and 8. Yeah,
Yep,
and I remember late in the
15.
game it was like offsides on a field goal and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just
The cheapies.
yep, yep.
Your second one was Goddard over 52 and a half.
Right. This
That,
was the script didn't go the way that I thought it would go. He got an early catch, I believe, on the second drive, about for 20 yards.
oh
About
yeah, that
that
was
was
a
good.
sweet one. I remember thinking like, oh, Tommy's, this is it.
Right, and that was
But
it.
I mean, they, I mean, the Eagles had 45 rush attempts.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
like,
So
that makes it super tough. They only threw the ball 23 times. One of those was Pickett's little thing at the end. So,
right.
um, tough to hit on that
I
when
thought
the
it,
game
I
script
thought
goes
I knew
that way.
they don't like to pass the ball that much. Obviously, they love pounding with Saquon, but Goddard when he's been healthy has just been one of his go-to wide receivers. It just didn't work
Yeah,
out that way. he looked at his the outside receivers more than I thought, and then the game got out of hand, and there was just it doesn't look good.
Yeah, and then the other one was Worthy over 6.5 rushing.
Right, and I still
I
believe I'm
felt
right on this. As we talked about the running backs for KC, I thought they were not going to be able to run the ball
yeah.
between the tackles. I thought they'd have a couple trick plays, a couple running plays for Worthy, but he did get involved in the game a lot. They just did not use him in the running game, which
Yeah,
I
on
thought
that
would
first
be available getting outside those tackles because there was nothing up the middle. There was nowhere to go, but
that first
never
that
got the
first
touch.
first drive they had one like screen or something to him, and I thought, oh yep, they're gonna get this guy involved around the line of
Right,
scrimmage, and I thought that had a chance ahead, but
right. Those quick little hitters to the almost like run plays where they get it to him real quick, let him run. And I was pretty confident that he was going to get at least a rush in this game, and it never happened.
maybe you should be an offensive coordinator. I mean,
I
they should have tried something
They
because
should have tried something. It wasn't working. They
yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to give him the ball, obviously. Uh, I very surprised that I didn't see any kind of gadgety plays from the Chiefs. They love it, but man,
They had that like like Mike Tyson says, right? Everyone's got a plan till you get punched in the mouth.
yeah, they got
Like I
punched in
felt
the
like
mouth.
after like two drives they got punched in the mouth and they were really just like dazed. Like again, they
Right.
cut to Mahomes and I was like, dude, this guy looks confused
I
right now.
mean, the
Like
Chiefs being down 24-0 is just it doesn't happen.
no,
Never
that
happened.
was
So I thought,
awesome.
they were showing their sideline. You got guys on their knees, just oh my God, what's going on, and this and that, and it's like it was lovely to see, but
Yeah. So you went 0-3, I went 1-2. I guess we need to get sharper.
right, yeah,
So um let's cut to the NFL awards. We'll do a little bit of there, and then I think we each have a bet that we want to put in for the next one.
yeah, yeah,
NFL awards. Obviously, the big one was Josh Allen, right,
right,
for MVP. As much as I didn't want it to happen because it cost me $50, uh, I, I think it was right. I think you know for what that award is supposed to be, what it seems like it's supposed to be for, that seemed like the right pick. I think they screwed it up last year, right?
right. I
Um,
100% agree with you. They screwed it up last year. It should have been Josh Allen last year, but no one could get over the turnovers that Allen was having, even though he led the league in every other stat as far as touchdowns and rushing touchdowns. And I thought he had it for sure last year. But the Bills lose. I think without Diggs, and they lost Gabe Davis, and everybody just had them being a mediocre team this year. Uh, them getting the 2 seed, and Josh Allen being the quarterback of that team. It was the right choice in my opinion.
well, and they've made it clear, right? And I mean, we'll see how it stays, but they've made it clear that this award is not just about statistics, right?
Right.
It's really not, right? Like you could be on a so-so team and just have to throw the ball a lot or whatever it is. But I think that's the message is that this is not about statistics. There's a picture to go along with it, winning, and I think partially I don't know if you saw the thing with Dan Orlovsky where he was talking about it, and then like I think it was uh, Foxworthy and Saturday were almost like laughing at the guy, but I'm
Right.
like,
I know he took
he
it.
he
He took
yeah,
a
I'm
beating.
like, yeah. First off, those guys are borderline being douchebags. Like this
Right.
guy's giving his honest opinion, and again, when you look at the Bills, as far as offensive weapons go,
Right.
Cook had never been what he was this year, right? He'd
Right.
always been a good back. And these other guys are like, who are these guys? You know what I mean? So, I kind of thought that was
One
kind of
second string All Pro versus 9. You know,
yeah.
it's just you could see why uh Allen got the edge, I believe, a little bit there too. Just not as much talent on the team, and it was a close vote. I mean, it was 382 to 362, so
Yeah,
extremely close. I get why Lamar uh, was right there. I mean, he had an amazing year.
sure. And then
Amazing.
again, it's hard to ignore the statistics, but I think, and I don't want to say ignore, but not put them as the primary factor. But I think that the precedent's been set, and I think the NFL, whoever, like they have to stick with it going forward, or else you're just going to get criticism. So,
Right. I mean,
uh,
I also, just to stick with it, I believe if Joe Burrow made the playoffs that he won the MVP. Joe Burrow's season was insane, but they didn't even make the playoffs. But his numbers, I believe it was something like 3 touchdowns and
oh,
300 yards and eight
like
straight games or something like that. It was unbelievable.
sure, he's definitely jumping up the fantasy rankings, right?
Oh yeah,
So, offensive player of the year. I think that was pretty much a guarantee for Barkley.
right.
Again, I think you could have easily made the case for Burrow or Lamar even there, but I think there's a part of it where it's like, listen, Barkley doesn't have a real chance at MVP because that
No,
goes to a
he's not a
quarterback.
quarterback.
So, which is stupid, but that's kind of just the way it seems like it is. So, I personally felt all along that this is almost
Right.
like going to be his consolation prize a little bit.
Right. I mean, the MVP's turned into the best quarterback or the most valuable player, most valuable quarterback in the league. So, offensive player of the year, it should go to a wide receiver or running back.
Yeah.
But so Saquon dominated the votes. It was 35, and Lamar got 12, and then one for Henry. So it was dominated by Saquon, which he deserved. He was unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, Defensive player of the year was Sertan. I felt like that was probably the favorite there. Um, I don't know. So there's a bunch of other guys on there that had big seasons. Hendrickson,
Hendricks,
obviously.
yeah, yeah. I guess I didn't watch enough Broncos games. I know their defense was great this year. Hendricks is good. There was no real standout player this year to me in the NFL on
No,
defense.
I didn't want Sertan to get it because when Cleveland played Denver, uh, Jerry Judy had like 300 yards that one game, and I was
Right.
playing him in fantasy.
Okay.
I was
Yeah.
playing with fantasy, and I was so pissed off. Every single week, I read this article about Patrick Surtain,
Right.
unbelievable, best corner. No one can do anything. And now in this super big game that I need to win, I don't know. They're like, oh, he wasn't covering him. What? Why?
Right.
Why aren't you? How many
Yeah.
times?
After 150 yards, maybe make a change or something.
Yeah, like you know what? Go to the other side of the field. Like that stuff makes me mad. Then why isn't every team doing that? Right?
I
Why
believe
isn't every team?
he's a one side of the field guy.
Okay, so then why isn't every other team telling their best
I know.
receiver, like, I'm just going to line you on the opposite side every time?
Right.
Like, again, I'm not a master of X's and O's football, but that stuff just drives me nuts. When I watch, like, Kelsey get 14 catches in a game and no one else, I'm like,
Right.
why are we.
Like, let's make a change. Let anybody else beat us at this point.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, man. So that's why I didn't want Sertan to win it. I was pissed off because Jerry Judy torched me. He cost me the game. He cost me a first round bye, which wound up making me lose in the fantasy playoffs. I would have had a second fantasy championship if it wasn't for Sertan.
Yeah. Listen, I've hated players for less, so I get it.
For less. Offensive rookie of the year, Jaden Daniels. I think we all knew it.
Right.
Honestly, I don't. Do you have the voting up there? Do you have what the voting was?
I'm looking. Yes, I do. It was 49 to Brock Bowers 1. Brock Bowers had an insane year.
He did.
Broke all tight end rookie numbers, and I mean, you got to give it to Jaden Daniels. He had an amazing year.
He did have an amazing year, but I saw something the other day. So, maybe I'll have it for the next one, right? But Bo Nix's numbers Bo Nix's throwing numbers were as good, if not better, than Jaden Daniels. And that was also a team that was supposed to suck,
Right. No, you're right.
right?
You're right.
And to be honest, Daniels had an unbelievable season, right?
Right.
But
I think I know what you're saying. I think Bo Nix should have had a couple votes at least. He
yeah, I
was
mean and listen, I am not a big Sean Payton guy,
I
not totally, but what he did for that, you got to be impressed considering they have no great running backs. Cortland Sutton, I guess, is your number one, right? But like
right.
offensively, like they were supposed to be a bad team in a good division, and they made the playoffs with a rookie the whole time.
Now he
So
is a rookie now. He was in college for what, 30 years? He was in college for a long time. I think he played for 3 teams in college. So he's a veteran rookie.
all
But he
right,
did have a great year.
the amount of the what I'm saying the amount of hype that Daniels got
Right.
for compared to Bo Nix when their numbers were that
You're
close,
right. No, I agree
if
with
not
you.
Knicks were better, was pretty crazy. So and I don't particularly love Denver, but I got to give those props.
I agree.
Defensive Rookie of the Year,
This is
um,
easy.
I was Jared Verse. I
You've seen
said
him more
on
than
one of the
anybody
other
watching the
episodes
Seahawks.
I saw in one of the other episodes that we had about how amazing he was and how much he disrupted so many games. When I watched him versus the Seahawks, it was like, good God, this guy's an absolute monster. Um, they actually had 2 defensive linemen nominated. The Rams.
Yeah.
They're going to continue to be scary.
I guess they shouldn't trade away all their first round picks because they did a pretty good job this year with Verse and their other picks. They love trading away their picks, but yeah, Verse was awesome.
Yeah, Verse was awesome, and
I mean, the
that
Bills played him. He wrecked them, and I'm sure you saw him a couple times when they played Seattle.
oh man, he's it's just I was just I couldn't every time I'm like it makes me sick that we like pass up on this guy, you know.
Right.
Uh Next award we talked a little bit about before, the comeback player of the year.
What is this award all about?
I just think it's just freaking stupid. It's just a dumb award. I can't pinpoint like the comeback part is just so like up in the air. Are you coming back? I mean, we have Joe Burrow. He
Right.
came back
Coming
from the
back from
wrist
his
injury.
wrist injury.
Okay, Darnold, what did he come back from? Not playing,
Just
sitting the
just
bench.
just sitting the bench. So he's coming back from not doing anything.
J.K. Dobbins had an injury.
Leg injury.
Christian Gonzalez. I mean, again, these guys aren't getting hit by Mack trucks. Like, I mean, I
No.
get it. They were hurt. They were out for a month and a half. But like, and then Damar Hamlin. We all know his story, but I'm like, what's he coming back from? Not playing?
Right.
Like, I can't hear that he's coming back from, the dying. That was last year.
That was last year.
So this year he came back from not playing. Like, to be
Yeah,
honest,
he came back from
I
not
just
playing to playing poorly. But
how bad of an injury do you have to qualify for a
I don't
comeback?
know. I don't know when you have to get hurt for this to be considered you're coming back. I mean, I'm giving it to Sam Darnold. I mean, he didn't even play, and the guy hasn't played in a couple of years.
And I mean, he was
starting
the season before last year when he didn't play. He was benched the second half in Carolina.
right.
So I just
Actually, before that, he was I think he was in San Francisco.
yeah, he
And
had
then
a
he
year
was
in San Fran
then he
where he
was in
just
Carolina.
sat the bench.
Right.
The award's stupid to me. I don't get it. I don't like how long does he have to be out? Joe Flacco won it. What did he come back from? Sitting on the couch for half a year?
That's right.
Right? And then
Yeah.
so like I don't love the award. I know people like to talk about it and all of that stuff, but it's really just kind of stupid. It's my opinion.
Right. Yeah.
And the last one we're going to talk about is Coach of the Year. Kevin O'Connell won. They
Absolutely
had a
deserves
really
it.
nice season.
He deserves it. I mean, he made Darnold look great for most of the season until the last game and the playoffs. But uh, you know, they were right there for a number one seed until the last game of the season, and yeah, he deserved it.
I think if I had to give it to somebody, and I just said that I don't like this guy, but man, I really think Sean Payton did it. He really did. The reason I said I don't like him was because I don't love the fact that previous to Denver, the only place he succeeded was New Orleans and with Drew Brees, right? Like
Right.
I don't love guys that have. I've said this about Belichick before. Only success that he really had was with Brady.
Right.
Not much, if any, outside of that. And with Sean Payton, I felt like he had Drew Brees, and once Drew Brees was going to retire,
Yeah, he left.
he kind of like freaking bitched out and was like,
Yeah.
"Yep, I'm done." And I'm
That's
like,
why I can't stand the guy.
"For
I
real?"
mean, it's
But
easy.
Denver was supposed to be awful,
Right.
right? And
But remember, I
I don't
mean,
know.
the Vikings were supposed to go with McCarthy.
Yeah,
He has a knee injury a couple games before the start of the season, a couple weeks in the preseason, and then they got to switch it up to Darnold, and he played great. And
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that he's not deserving, right? Like,
right,
again, he did a really good job. No one thought Minnesota would be that good.
right,
Um, but I think you still got Justin Jefferson, you got Addison,
right,
you signed what's the right? Oh, Aaron Jones, right?
right. Oh, they have
Um,
talent.
they knew
Hawkinson, they got. I mean, they got
Hawkinson
talent.
was coming back. So I just felt that I think Peyton had a little bit less to work with. I didn't think Minnesota would be amazing as they were, but their defense was awful 2 seasons ago. But sometimes it's like, when you're awful, there's no place to go but up, right? Like
Right,
you get a couple guys back and maybe change it up a little bit and you refine your scheme and like you should get a little bit better from terrible.
right,
So,
right.
um,
Dan Campbell was second in voting. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a Dan Campbell guy. I know he's a risk taker. I think it's bit him in the ass now a couple years in a row. I thought they should have beat 49ers in the playoffs last year, but he's taking risks when they're up 2 touchdowns, letting a team back in the game. I like the guy. I don't think my coach should be crying that much, but
you don't think you should be some absolute monster guy and then but it's emotion. He's an emotional guy.
I know it's
I
emotional.
like him a
I
lot.
like it.
His season was remarkable. Like the record was incredible. So
Right.
I
And they
see
had a lot
why
of
he's up
injuries.
there. But I don't I'm not sure that I would want him to win.
Yeah,
Just
I agree.
considering how good they were, you know what I mean? I
Right.
think those other guys you do. I like the coach of the year when you're doing a lot more with less, right? Super
Right.
low expectations and you really go above and beyond. To me, that's really good coaching. I feel like you probably could put a number of guys in that could coach that Detroit team to an awesome season.
Right.
So,
Well,
cool. I think we're going to leave with one bet. Obviously, things slow down a little bit here with football canceling or not canceling, but being over. But I think we each got a bet that we're going to put in. Tommy, you want to go first?
yeah. I like Golden State -5 over the Mavericks. You got Butler going to Golden State. I think that gives them their big three that they've been looking for. I know the Mavericks now got AD and they got Clay and they got Irving, but I
Yeah,
don't
AD's
know
hurt
any.
though.
Yeah, and I
Already.
already yeah,
That
and
went well.
I just think it's going to take a while to gel, even when they are all healthy. And they have not looked good since Luca's gone, which makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, -5. It's in Dallas, but I still like -5 Golden State with Butler going to Golden State. I think it's going to help their offense. And
As we as we'll see on here, I'm always afraid home home basketball teams, right? So we'll see. I love what you're thinking there, but
yeah,
I'm never surprised when home
right.
basketball teams win. For some reason, it seems to make a huge difference. For mine, I am going to go to college tomorrow, and I'm gonna go with one of my. This just doesn't pass the stink test.
Right.
I got Villanova at home versus St. John's. St. John's is ranked 9th. They are on the road, 21-3. The point spread is St. John's minus 2.5. Right?
Oh boy.
You kind of look at it and you're like, oh my God, they're 21-3, ranked 9th. But they are like, you're like, how are they only favored by 2.5? Right?
Nobody knows something.
Yeah, I always say this. I'm like, man, if you just have the stones to put it on some of these games, it seems to work. In football, it seems to happen, and in college basketball. I mean, I look and everything seems like the easiest bet ever. Take St. John's. I'm gonna go Villanova. So
I like it. Risky.
risky for sure. We
It
will.
all makes sense.
Yeah, we will see. I'll probably by halftime I'll be like, man, that was a stupid thing. So that's what we got for today, episode 3. Make sure you check us out on all the different platforms. We're still figuring this stuff out as we go, but we are on Spotify, and I've been putting them on YouTube and Apple Podcast and iHeartRadio. And the link up on the Twitter or X feed or whatever you want to call it. So follow along and have a good one. We're hoping to get out another episode sometime this week, right?
That's right.
All right. Sounds good. Have a good one. And from 2 guys, 1 spread, we're out.